What up? What up, man? I've been struggling to get some videos done. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know. It's like I'm in a big city. Like, I don't want to film out in a busy place. I try to go out in the backyard, wind chimes, alarms going off, dogs barking. I go to the front, there's cars going by. And just, filming static videos indoors. Like, I don't know. It's just not really my thing. But, I mean, I'm dying to, put out some content and talk to you guys about a few things. And, just got to suck it up and do it here, sitting on the floor in front of my little couch. This is my nook where I do all my reading and working and whatnot. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about AI and the end of jobs. What could be the end of jobs? So in the past, technologically speaking, we could innovate our way to getting something done that a human used to have to do, and then we innovated beyond that. Human didn't have to do it anymore, but there was new jobs for the human to go and do, right? But AI is different. It's fundamentally different in that AI is really a machine's ability to learn and grow and improve. If that is greater than a human's ability to learn and grow and improve, then it's only a matter of time before, the AI can do not some things better than humans and replace some things that humans do, but replace everything that humans do, right? And so without people to work and earn wages, there's no money to be buying products and services, right? And so the whole capitalism, the whole capitalistic economic model just it grinds to a halt with AI. So I think it's an interesting place that we're at. To me, the worst thing in modern life, still, the greatest, suffering that people go through is the job, right? It seems like in society we have, not seems, you don't need to calculate. You don't need more than a calculator to figure this out. But, it used to be like just a one-person household would be working. And then it became the husband and the wife, a two-person household working. And now it used to be one job, and now it's two or three jobs and some gig work on the side and a side hustle and a little bit of dabbling in your online business and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And people are working more hours, and they are working later in age than they used to. And this is a complete disharmony with the actual goals of real people. People want to work fewer hours. And when I say work, I'm talking about doing like unwanted work. Obviously, there's a lot of work that people like to do. It's exhilarating to them. It gives them energy. There's nothing that they'd rather be doing than solving little puzzles with their mind and doing that. I think people would play professional sports for free. I honestly think that. Like, that's not really what compels them. They want to go out there and compete and be the best. And it's not so much about the job. Like, they like doing that. There's nothing that they would rather do than wake up in the morning and work hard to be the best that they can be, right? I'm not talking about that kind of work. I'm talking about truly unwanted work, and which is what the vast majority of people are engaged in. And humans don't want to do this. We want to minimize this. We want to minimize the number of hours that we're forced to work doing unwanted tasks. And we want to be able to retire from that work as early as possible. Those are the goals. And to me, with AI, we have a huge opportunity to make giant leaps towards the betterment of the quality of life of the average human, right? But obviously, like most people, I'm also fearful because depending on, how things play out, this could be disastrous, right? And the interim could be just a mess, right? People getting let off from their jobs, AI replaces them. A lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are in turmoil economically. I mean, none of that stuff is necessary. It could all be easily avoided with a proper plan that's implemented before things get really messy, is instead of doing it as a reaction to things getting messy. But yeah, to me, this is an advancement that is going to bring capitalism to a grinding halt, because the whole model of workers working for wages and then using those wages to buy goods and services, they're making goods and services, they're buying goods and services, and we have, a nice, you know, closed loop economic system that is not perfect, obviously, has a lot of problems, but has been working relatively well over the last few hundred years to take us to the point where we're at in current civilization. But this can't be it. I mean, everybody knows this can't be like the be all end all. We know for sure there's no way that we're going to still have this kind of system like 1,000 years from now. I mean, there's just no way. It causes too much, too many problems, and people are just not going to suffer unnecessarily anymore. And so I think what humans need to do, and I mean, I don't have all the answers by any stretch of the imagination, but what human beings really need to decide and get clear about what they want. And I find it really disturbing online when you go see people and they're like fighting really hard, like, don't employ this amazing new technology to do it for us. Let's ban this technology so that we humans can continue to do this, work, and earn wages. And it's like, no, dude, like you have to obviously like have a little bit more of like a longer term, grander vision about the future than that. Obviously, short term, yeah, if there's no safeguards in place and those people are just going to get laid off and lose their jobs, they're going to go through hell. And we want to avoid that. But the answer is not, trying to ban AI and bash it and not deploy this incredible new technology, into human life. I mean, this is our big opportunity to have basically like unlimited slave labor without enslaving any humans. This is really exciting stuff. I mean, AI can, potentially as it advances and progresses, will be able to do everything better than a human, everything. And so humans, it doesn't mean that we don't have to. What are we going to do if the robots do everything? What are we going to do? What's our purpose? And what a silly question. Like it's like asking somebody, if you had $100 million, what would you do? You wouldn't have to work anymore, so your life would be pointless, right? No, there's plenty of things that you can do that are fulfilling and rewarding and can occupy your time and fill your day and your life with lots of enrichment without, working and doing a lot of unwanted work. So, you can do creative work for creative sake. You can make music just for fun. You can get better at a sport. You can get better at some kind of craft. You can volunteer for certain things. It's unlimited. Obviously, I don't need to tell anybody what they can do with their free time. It's only limited by the human imagination what free time could be filled with and filled doing. But I think humans need to get really clear about what we want, I'm talking about the masses. We've got to get really clear about what we want. We have to say, okay, we want fewer hours of forced labor. We don't want to have to work as many hours. We want the work week to go down, and we want the average age of retirement to come down. And to me, AI, if used correctly, could free humans from the vast majority of our forced servitude into the labor market, right? Because ultimately, labor, trading your time and labor for money that you use to trade for goods and services that you rely on to survive and live a comfortable life, this is just kind of like slavery by proxy. It's not obviously as barbaric as slavery is, but it's only a small step in the right direction. It's still a long way away from the human being, like truly being free and untethered from basically trading the vast majority of their effort and energy and time that they have in this world and in this life, toiling for some kind of company. So anyway, obviously we all need to occupy ourselves doing something, but it doesn't need to be in exchange for money. We could just do it purely for fun, recreationally, and it would really relieve a lot of pressure and stress from people. And I know it seems like a utopian fantasy that humans could, basically not do something that they hate all the time. But AI brings this at least it's possible with AI, right? Because AI could do a lot of the things like Humans need food, we need water, we need shelter, we need clothing. And beside that, there's not a whole lot that we need. Everything else on top of that is kind of icing on the cake. But the basic cake of having all of our physical needs met, a ton of that is going to be something that can be automated. And if that can be automated, then all the rest, all the luxuries of life can be something that we consider to be optional, right? Where, okay, we're willing to work in order to have this, but really to have our basic needs met without having to do anything, without being forced to do anything, is, that would be just an incredible advancement, just a giant leap for our civilization to have that. So I think getting really clear about what we want. Hey, we don't want to have to work anymore. That needs to be, hey, we got this technology that replaces the need for human labor. We don't want to continue to be forced to work. We don't want to be forced to do mundane things in order to earn a paycheck when we could have just had, freaking robot, an AI programmed robot get in there and do it. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I guess one of the things I wanted to say is just like a good example of like humans, the masses not being clear about what they want. I think one of the greatest examples was Occupy Wall Street, right? Occupy Wall Street was like, yeah, we don't like this, and we're here to protest it, and we have no idea what we want instead. We don't have any alternatives. We don't have any solutions. We just know that we don't like this. We're not really sure why, but we just don't like it, and we're here protesting. We got to get clear. We need like a plan of action. We need to be very specific about what the goals are. Here's what we want the future to be like. And I'd love that. I'd love to see intentional communities all over the world. And a community can be defined about, all different kinds of things. Communities can be defined by a religious belief. Communities can be defined by art. Communities can be defined by outdoor recreation. Communities can be defined by whatever. We already have that. Communities all over the United States, for example, and all over the world, they're identified by certain things. Boulder, Colorado, or Moab or something. Those are outdoor recreation meccas. Like they identify. That's how they identify. So communities, intentional communities, could be built that have an identity and attract a certain type of person who wants to put, place as their highest value, whatever that community is all about. And then within those communities, you could have AI and robotics and automation within those communities that produce the vast majority of all the food that's needed, that's able to produce the vast majority of the clothing and housing that's needed within that community, and do it all without requiring human labor. So that human labor is something that not completely optional. I mean, we're still a long way from human labor being like not needed at all. But maybe people work until they're 35 instead of 65. Maybe they work, a 50-hour work week in their 20s, and then 40, and then 30 and 20. Maybe we have a descending, work schedule over the course of our lifetimes or something like that. Of course, as I'm saying these kinds of things, somebody of like a capitalist mindset would be like, no, we need maximum productivity happens between this age. Our smartest, most experienced people are in their 40s and 50s, and they're super productive. We can't have them tapering off their work. They're the most valuable people in the workforce. I don't know. Again, that's just being like completely hypnotized by this capitalist system that we're in. So, I don't know. We need to get clear about what we want. And to me, it starts with defining what, taking inventory of what actually makes humans happy. Obviously humans, they want, there's certain things that they require that maximize their happiness and feelings of fulfillment and contentment. And that's like family, that's health. We obviously need good environmental stewardship and something that's, we need to be doing things in a way that's sustainable. regardless of what the costs are, or whether it's profitable or not, or, comparing X's and O's to try to figure out what should be done. We should be doing whatever the best technology that we can determine to be deployed for use that's the most sustainable. We need to be, deploying that. So we need to be looking at something sustainable, healthy, maximizes human happiness. It starts with studying that and identifying what provides that, and then it's going to be trying to figure out how to, how do you get all those things with the least amount of forced human labor, utilizing this new AI tool with, all the other technologies that, that are adjacent to it, that like the robotics and all that, and then we can, create these little, these little intentional communities all over the world that function, and we could have a system like that. We wouldn't have to have a capitalist system like we have. And like I said, everyone's thinking, well, how do we break free from this system? Well, interestingly enough, I really do think that AI is going to be what ushers in this system, because it does break the capitalist model of people earning wages and people spending those wages on goods and services. You could create all the goods and services you want with AI, but what good does it do if there's nobody out there to buy it, right? So companies are not going to succeed if there's nobody out there earning money. And so I think the next step, and that, all the big tech gurus and, have all said this, we're probably going to need an interim stage at some point where there is universal basic income, where you just give people money and then they buy the goods and services from the companies. That makes sense as like a go-between, like a step. But it's still problematic in that, I think it is, I don't know. I think it's still, the companies are going to still be trying to get people to just consume as much as possible, and marketing that, like crazy to try to get us to buy their products. And there's still going to be investors and heads of corporations that are getting super rich and having all kinds of privileges that the vast majority of people don't have. And we can't live in a society where we have that kind of imbalance. It's just not sustainable. It's not kosher. Eventually, societies that get really stratified between the wealthy and the poor, the proletariat and the this and that, those eventually crumble. They eventually fall apart, and you can see how we're careening towards that now. I mean, it creates a lot of tension and angst and hostility. I mean, it really creates a lot of hostility when there's just huge divide between classes. So anyway, what do you guys think? What is, if we're to say the objective is to, okay, number one, identify what humans really want, and then number two, get really clear about, what that looks like actually implemented. What does that look like for you guys? What are some ideas that you can share that you think are, realistic steps that could be taken? How do we transition to there is the big question. That's what everybody's wondering. Anybody could sit here and just kind of fantasize about, a Buckminster Fuller induced, society that's smart and efficient and harnesses technology for the betterment of all. But that's not the civilization we live in now. How do we transition? What are the steps? How do you do that? And I don't know. Could we even, hypothetically, in a comment section on YouTube, get clear about what humans want? What do we want our lives to really be like? Just from a clean slate, not, if we, not even considering the world that we live in, just hypothetically, just laying out what the perfect life for humans looks like. Can we even do that? It'll be interesting. I hope we get some good chats going. But anyway, I'm actually really optimistic about AI. In the interim, it's going to cause a lot of distress if we don't hurry up and act and implement measures to keep people from suffering so much if they get displaced by AI and lose their income. We can't have that. So we have got to put in some measures as soon as possible to protect people. And then we can loosen up and embrace the technology and put it to use and harness it for the betterment of all. And I really hope that that's what we do.